Washington is once again at the center of West Asia diplomacy. In a short while from now, the U.S. President Donald Trump will host Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at the White House. The high-stakes talk is aimed at pushing a Gaza peace plan. It will be Netanyahu's fourth visit to the White House since Trump returned to office in January. The talks come amid weeks of heightened tension, deadly clashes along the Gaza border, and an escalating humanitarian crisis. For Trump, the meeting is a chance to present himself as a deal-maker who is determined to bring peace where decades of diplomacy have failed or faltered. Trump has proposed a 21-point peace plan to end the Gaza war, free hostages held by Hamas, and disarm the Palestinian group following talks with Arab and Muslim leaders last week. In fact, he teased a possible breakthrough on Sunday. The president posted on his Truth Social that all are on board for something special. First time ever, we will get it done. Netanyahu will be looking to shore up his country's most important relationship as it faces growing international isolation, but he has given little reason for optimism in the recent days. In his address at the UNGA last week, the Israeli Prime Minister vowed to finish the job against Hamas. Moreover, he promised to block a Palestinian state that key Western nations recently recognized. Netanyahu also appears to be reluctant to halt a military offensive in Gaza, where over 66,000 people have lost their lives in the past 2 years. The war will mark 2 years next week, the longest in Israel's history. Trump has shown signs of frustration. The president is eager to translate his campaign promise, the ultimate deal for peace in West Asia, into action. Palestinians remain skeptical in view of Washington's strong tilt towards Israel.
We are tired, truly. We are really tired of this life. It's a shame. It's enough. Other people's children are comfortable and they just watch us. What is the fault of this child? No reading, no writing, no clothes, no food, no drink like other people. Our children are all destroyed. Our youth are all destroyed.
The situation here is very bad, and we are afraid that they will storm and invade here. My sisters and I are appealing to leave to the south, but we need a paper to give us an ambulance to transport my children. We are sitting in a death trap here. We are fighting death here, and we go to the south, and they shoot at us there too. We have no life.
Netanyahu, on the other hand, is under mounting pressure from the hostages' families. Ahead of the talks, a large art installation was seen on a beach in Tel Aviv. It shows images of Trump and Netanyahu with a long nose facing each other. The art has a message: don't be fooled again. The U.S. president says a deal to end the war in Gaza is likely, but what's on offer is politically problematic for Netanyahu. The outcome of the meeting is likely to depend on how much pressure Trump is willing to put on the Israeli Prime Minister to accept a deal on which both Israel and Hamas are still not sold. Trump calls it a moment of opportunity. Netanyahu calls it a necessity. But the people of Gaza, who are reeling from violence and shortages, will be watching the meeting closely. Will it produce tangible steps towards easing the Gaza crisis, or simply add to a long history of failed peace bids? Remains to be seen. Let's talk to our correspondent Susan Teherani, who's now joining us live on this broadcast from New York. Susan Teherani, this is a much anticipated discussion between President Donald Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The world is waiting with bated breath.
Yeah, that's very accurate to say. Really an important meeting between these two leaders, their fourth since President Trump once again took office and control of the White House. The 21-point plan that the U.S. is offering yesterday in an interview on television here, Prime Minister Netanyahu said that, well, we have to work things out. He didn't commit fully to it. There are reports right now that prior to their meeting, President Trump may be speaking to the Emir of Qatar, just signifying how important that meeting between President Trump and Middle Eastern and Arab and Muslim leaders were on the sidelines of the UNGA in bringing together some sort of peace plan, and this peace plan that's on the table right now. On the one hand, you're right, Netanyahu is in a peculiar situation from those that want the release of hostages. On the other, he's also eyeing elections next year in his country, and one may wonder whether or not he wants to put this situation and this issue behind him. release these hostages, get some kind of deal done with Gaza and with Hamas through these intermediaries, and pin that as a victory for himself as well? Or will the war continue? But nonetheless, it is a very detrimental meeting. The New York Times was reporting that Hamas says that they have not seen any draft of the proposal, which is understandable since Netanyahu said that they're still working on it. But nonetheless, during the weekend, President Trump was optimistic that an end may be near.
All right. There's a lot of activity happening at the White House at this moment. We are waiting for the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to make his way at the White House and meet U.S. President Donald Trump. That is our correspondent Susan Teherani. Susan, thank you.